So tell us, how does it work? Like, I think you also mentioned to me a lot of like the specific technical advantages or uniqueness to the whole system. So tell us, how does it work? How do we as lenders make money, and just in general, how does it work?
Yeah, so I mean, look, we talk to individuals again, whether we meet them. Well, first of all, there's three ways we raise capital, right? One from existing lenders that are in the program, and they continue to add lending funds into their account, right? Because they build confidence and they start adding more money to their lending accounts. Okay, so that's the first way we raise capital. The second way is by participating in these alternative investment conferences, right? Talking to individuals that already have the mindset of doing alternative investment strategies versus the what I call in the box, what everybody else does. And then lastly, we have micro lending consultants. They're across the United States. They sell the program to their family, to their inner circle, and then work their network as well, right? So those are three key ways of us raising capital. Now, once we raise the capital, how it works is your money comes in, it goes right into the loan pool in Kenya. That loan pool gets dispersed, and then every 30 days, your money comes back, principal plus interest. And then depending on what level you're at, we have two levels, but you can earn, your interest earned is then in your account on a 30-day basis, right? Um, and it's a pretty simple process, right? Now, once the money's in the loan pool from the borrower side, right? The borrower then has to have a digital wallet with M-Pesa. M-Pesa is the digital banking service,
Oh,
right?
okay. So actually, for this whole section, what I want to get to have you talk is
Just the
um
lender side.
that part, but more like, how does it work, not from a lender perspective, but from the whole, like, for example, how do you find your clients? How do borrowers find you guys? And how does borrowers submit application? How do you do your due diligence check on them? How do you get the money into their hands? And how do they pay back? What's their default rate? And how do you pay the investors? Things like lenders, things like that. Like how it works from a, not from a lender perspective, but by itself, how how does this cycle work? Yeah.
Right. No, no. I think the biggest thing, especially just from a lender standpoint, when you come into the program, we have a partnership with Comply Advantage. They're out of the United States, but the first thing that happens is you go through a anti-money laundering checkpoint as well as know your customer checkpoint, right? One, we want to make sure that we know who the lender is, and that they are who they say they are. Number one. Number two is that the money's coming from legitimate banking sources, right? So all those things from a lender standpoint, you go through this checkpoint to make sure that you're a quality lender, right, for the program. Now, from a borrower standpoint, again, in Kenya, these individuals have to have a digital wallet in M-Pesa, which is the digital banking service. They apply for loans. Then once the loan is approved, uh, granted, when they do the loan application, they also go through a credit check as well. It's called the Metropole Corporation. They're out of Nairobi, but those individuals go through a credit check. And then M-Pesa also has a AML and KYC feature for the borrowers, right? To make sure there's no issues with those individuals. So you're kind of covered on both sides, right? But most importantly for the borrower, right? He goes to the system. We know for a fact, at least for us, that 80% of these folks are going to have bad credit to no credit history, and then we have to make a decision whether we want to give out these loans, right? It's important, one thing, if they have bad credit, we at least ask for 3 months of cell phone statements to show that they've actually paid cell phones on a regular basis, and if they can provide that, we'll give them a loan, right? And we'll start them at the low end of the process. But again, there's checkpoints on both sides from a lender standpoint and a borrower standpoint to make sure that these individuals are, good folks and, um, want to make sure from a banking standpoint, we have legitimate banking sources that are providing the funds that are going into the borrowing side of the business. And then, we want to make sure that those borrowers are, legitimate folks as well.
Okay, so but are you ever worried about like borrowers not finding you guys? Like, how do you do your marketing? How do you reach those borrowers? How do they find you?
Well, there's a couple of ways in Kenya that we, have the communication and reaching out to those borrowers, right? One, we own our own credit union. The credit union currently has 60,000 members. Well, what does that mean? That means that these 60,000 members have gone through the microloan process, have established good credit history, and now they have banking services, right? Full banking services at the credit union. So we do a lot of stuff social media wise from the credit union. A lot of it's word of mouth, but we also have 200 field agents in Kenya. Now, these folks don't work in the two metropolitan cities of Nairobi and Kisumu. They work in the rural areas, right? And so they are out there working with individuals, taking them through the loan process, make sure that they're filling out the loans properly, and so forth and so on. So that really helps, with getting folks to apply for loans.
So, are you saying you guys own a bank?
We own a credit union. Yes, it's called a Fresa. It's been now it's what 3.5 years that it's been out there, and again we have 60,000 members. Now this is not part of the microloan process. This is separate, but we know it's working because we have 60,000 members within the credit union now.
So essentially, you are starting people off on your micro lending platform, and then if they behave well, you graduate them to your credit union. So then,
Correct.
so it's win-win. You guys get your interest, and they get to access banking services.
Yeah, and the full banking services for them means that they can borrow up to $10,000. The terms are usually 1 to 2 years, but it gives them more access to capital, right? And they do savings, they do checking, they even have financial education for those folks. So, like you said, it's a win-win on both sides.
Right, right. Yeah, I really see it as that way.